Have you ever noticed what happens to your breathing when you're under pressure at work? Take, for example, a day when you're in back-to-back meetings, or maybe you're sitting down and you're trying to finish a difficult piece of work, and you notice that your breathing might get a little more shallow or constricted. Maybe it's speeding up if you feel a bit of stress and tension, or you might even be holding your breath and you don't realize it for a few moments. What's fascinating is that this relationship works both ways. Your state impacts the way that you're breathing, but if you change the way you're breathing, you can change your state. And so in this video, I'm gonna break down 3 dead simple breathing practices that I use every day of my life. One that helps me find a state of balance in my nervous system. A second that I use when I need to just downshift and find a little bit more relaxation in my system. And my third is really when I want to get into a deep state of relaxation. If you like practical tools for feeling not just calmer, but more focused and intentional with how you're spending your time, then make sure to hit subscribe for more videos just like this. Now, to understand why these breathing techniques work, we need to do just a little bit of Science 101. Your nervous system has a huge influence on how you're experiencing reality. There's a part of your nervous system called the autonomic nervous system. You can think of it as the automatic branch of your nervous system. And so this controls all of these different bodily functions like your heart rate, your blood pressure, your body temperature, your digestion. And as the name suggests, it does this automatically without your conscious control. Within the autonomic nervous system, you have these 2 branches, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. One way you can think about this is like a gas pedal and a brake. So the sympathetic is often called the fight, flight, or freeze response. It's the gas pedal. So when you perceive a threat or an opportunity, your body can ramp up. It hits the gas pedal to mobilize you to take action. On the flip side, you have the parasympathetic, which is like the brake. And so when you don't sense any threats or there's nothing you need to move towards, your nervous system will shift down into this parasympathetic state, which is often called the rest and digest. And this is where a lot of recovery happens. It's a really important state for us to be in. And it's really cool because the breath is linked directly to this gas pedal and this brake. Every time you inhale, your nervous system is sort of pressing the gas. And every time you exhale, it's pumping the brake. And it's really important that you just understand that basic physiology because every breathwork technique that you might have heard of is based on this foundational understanding. For the purpose of this video, we're going to be focused on more of what's called functional breathing. And so these techniques are not going to be as focused on ramping you up. The 3 that I'm going to talk about are going to be focused on finding balance or downshifting us. Because with almost everybody that I work with, they live very fast-paced lives, right? They have demanding professional jobs, they might have a family, they've got a lot going on, and so they find themselves living in this sort of sympathetic state by default. And so learning how to downshift, I find to be really, really important to balance what I call this sort of sympathetic overdrive that many people find themselves in. That's why one of my favorite breathwork techniques is coherent breathing, sometimes called resonant breathing. And it works in a very simple way. You're basically finding a balance between the inhale and the exhale, so they're matched. And you're doing about 5 to 6 breaths per minute. So when you're doing this breath, you want to focus on a very easy, slow, controlled type of breathing. We're not going, we're just really taking it nice and easy in, nice and easy out. 5 to 6 seconds in, 5 to 6 seconds out. Doing this for as little as 5 minutes, but ideally around 10 minutes per day, has been shown to help increase your heart rate variability, which is a sign of your nervous system's capability and its resilience. And it has been shown in many studies to reduce the perceived sense of stress and anxiety in our lives. Think about coherent breathing as a practice of balance, of finding this baseline. You're wanting to get to a place in which your nervous system is equally balanced between that sympathetic and that parasympathetic. And the more time you train in this state, the easier your nervous system will find it as you go throughout your days to return to that state whenever you need it. And if you want to go a little deeper with this practice of coherent breathing, then I have a free 3-day focus and energy reset. And day 1 is actually dedicated to this tool of coherent breathing, explaining it in more detail and helping you figure out where it fits into your life. Plus, the next 2 days are more about your energy and switching off from work. So if you've been feeling a little bit scattered or overwhelmed, make sure to grab that guide. Again, it's linked in the comments below. Sometimes the hard part is not getting into this sort of like activated go, go, go state of sympathetic nervous system activation, right? Many of us, we have busy, demanding lives, we're caffeinated and we're ready to go. The difficult part is actually switching out of that state. Now, in the middle of the day, I usually don't want to, pump the brakes and go into full relaxation mode, but I just want to have a little bit of down regulation just to ease off that gas pedal and bring a little bit more relaxation into the system. That's when I use this next tool called 4-6 breathing. This practice, I think the name sums it up. You breathe in for 4 counts and you exhale for 6 counts. Whereas with coherent breathing, you're actually aiming for about 5 to 6 seconds on the inhale, 5 to 6 seconds on the exhale. With 4-6 breathing, what matters less is that it's done by the second, but it matters more that the ratio is accurate. Remember what I said, every inhale is that sympathetic, you're hitting the gas pedal. Every exhale is that parasympathetic, you're hitting the brake. And so when you inhale for 4 and you exhale for 6, you're creating a ratio and a rhythm that just has a slightly longer emphasis on the exhale. And so this technique or this practice is really good for just having a gradual downshift. You can also just kind of integrate this into everyday moments. So maybe you're on your lunch break and you've placed an order for your food and you're waiting for it to come. You can just drop into this very naturally and easily, and that will relax your system and it'll make it a lot easier for you to kind of enjoy the moment that's to come, relax, recover, etc. You can also do this out on a walk. I talk about this a lot, but one of my favorite ways to break up my day is by taking intentional walks where I'm using that time to decompress. So I'll use this technique on those walks. I'll count 4 steps on the inhale, 6 steps on the exhale. And this is 2, 3, 4 minutes, longer if you have it, but that's enough to just kind of give you that gradual downshift. And again, as you do that, you change the breath, the breath changes the body changes the mind. So this is a really simple, easy technique that you can use throughout your day when you want to find a little bit more calm in your system. Okay, then there are times when stress levels are high, or you've just had like a lot going on and you feel just like tense. Sometimes this is, for me, like I lie in bed at night and I just have, my mind is like filled with what happened during the day, all the stuff I didn't do, everything I have to do tomorrow. And in those moments, it can be helpful to have a bigger, deeper parasympathetic practice. That's where this third and final tool comes in, and it's called 4-7-8 breathing. I have found that this tool has been such a game changer for me. I first learned it 6 or 7 years ago, and I've done this rhythm hundreds and hundreds of times, and every time I do it, I'm just so surprised at the effect that it can have. Just like the ratio of 4 to 6, we're doing a 4 count inhale and an 8-count exhale. So the ratio is even bigger, which means that you're gonna get an even larger parasympathetic response. So this is like a big break, like a big downshift. It's really nice. You hold the breath at 7 seconds, and there's lots of different functional benefits for doing this. But one of the big things it does is it sort of helps your body slow down. I do this, as I mentioned, before I go to bed. I elevate my legs up the wall, and I will do 3 to 5 cycles of this, right? So 4, 7, 8, 1 cycle. And then I might transition after that to a few rounds of 4-6 breathing. It is really powerful. So you can do as little as 3 rounds. You can do as many as 10. It's not a practice that you have to continue. It's kind of like the starting point. So even if you just try it for 3 to 5 cycles, and then you do that once or twice a day for about a week or two, you will start to see that this has a very profound and fast-acting effect on your nervous system. All right, let's just recap it so you remember what we talked about and what you can use. You want to focus first on establishing that steady baseline. That's where coherent breathing is really useful. 5 to 10 minutes a day as a daily sort of baseline practice, excellent. Sometimes you want to just get a slight downshift and you want to just relax a tiny bit. That's where 4-6 breathing can be really useful, especially to just like intersperse it naturally throughout the day. Then you need a big break. You really want to kind of relax and get into a state of calm. Then 4-7-8 is a tool that you can use. So my recommendation is to pick one of these practices and try it today, right when you're done watching this video. It's all good to hear about this and learn about it, but it's another thing to actually do it yourself. So pick one, try it out. And look, if you're the type of person that knows about some of these breathwork or meditation practices, you know the types of things that would help you create a healthier, more sustainable approach to your work and life, but you're just struggling to actually make it happen, you're lacking the support and the accountability and the structure, then I can help you with that. That's exactly what we help people do in my program, the Inner Operating System. If you want to learn more, if that sounds like you, then you'll find the link in the description below to book a call with me. We'll just talk about where you're at, where you want to go. We'll see if the program is a good fit for you. And if you liked this video, please click the like button. That's how YouTube knows if this was good. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for your time and your attention watching this week's video. We'll see you back here next week.